welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be back at you again today for another video. If it's your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Kemi, aka KK, and on here we do everything beauty related. Alright guys, so today we are going to be talking about the hottest thing in the makeup industry right now. This palette, literally since it released, has been causing a lot of drama. It is the Subculture from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I must say guys, when the pictures leaked a couple of months ago, the first time I set my eyes on the pictures, I was like, ooh, I love this palette. And I actually loved it because it was quite unusual, the colours in it. And then when it released a few days ago, about a week ago, of course the reviews started flying out and then all the drama just kicked off. I started second guessing the idea of getting it. I was thinking, save my money and use it for something else. But because I just couldn't stop thinking about the palette, so I went and got it anyway. So here she is. I picked up my palette from Beauty Bay here in the UK. She cost me £41. I literally ordered this palette yesterday, Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. and I got it this morning about 10:30. So, and yeah, free shipping, £41 on Beauty Bay. So the Subculture palette comes in this box when you get it, and this is what the palette looks like. Right, this palette comes in the suede velcro type material, same as the Modern Renaissance comes. Now I'm not a fan of this particular finish for the eyeshadow palette's casing, because I find that it just attracts everything. Like, I got this palette this morning and you know, I'm already getting stains on it. Like, if it's just for yourself, then it's not too much of a problem. Like, you know, you can be careful with where you keep it and how you keep it and all of that stuff. But for like makeup artists and like people who travel a lot, this is not very kit friendly or travel friendly, because literally anything and everything will, you know, stain the casing. Again, it's not really that big of a deal, unless of course you're fussy. If you're a fussy person, then that might, you know, get on your nerves. But I'm not fussy. I really don't give a fuck. I don't care. So let's just open the palette and get straight into it. So this is what she looks like. Your standard Anastasia palette. She comes with the mirror and the brush. Oh, I dropped the brush. She also comes with the double-sided Anastasia brush, and this is the palette. The palette comes with 14 shades. You get 3 metallic eyeshadows, and then you have 11 matte eyeshadows. Now look at this beauty. Isn't she gorgeous? Like, just look at the colors in there. I must say, this palette is a bit like Marmite. It's like you either love it or you hate it, because like the colors in there are not very usual, you know, and it can be a little bit intimidating. Just looking at it, you're like, what do I do with this? Am I gonna like it? But yeah, I think that she's a, you know, it's a nice selection of colors. I actually really love it. It's a very autumnal palette. This palette will be absolutely fantastic to work with in the autumn season, because of all the beautiful autumn-like colors, the bronzy shades, the greens, the dark purples, the berry shade, and even the yellows. I actually really love the colors in this palette. Right, I'm not going to talk about all of the drama, because there are tons and tons and tons of channels on YouTube and, you know, like beauty gurus who have spoken about the palette and all the drama surrounding it. The way I feel about it is, it's absolutely definitely clear that there's something about Subculture that is different from what everyone is used to from Anastasia. It could be the formulation, it could be the ingredients, and most definitely the way the shadows are pressed, because Novena has come out to say that this shadow is softly pressed compared to their previous shadows and their previous palette. The other thing I noticed is the formulation in this, or the order of the ingredients used, is slightly different. In the Modern Renaissance palette, you have mica coming first, which would suggest to me that it's a, you know, a major ingredient in the formulation of this palette. Whereas in the Subculture, you have talc coming first, and we all know what talc is. Talc is powder. Think baby powder. So you can imagine what baby powder is like, and that is number 1 in all of the eyeshadows in this palette. So that suggests to me, of course, that it's a major ingredient in this palette. which would explain to me as a layman why the palette is so powdery. To be honest, most eyeshadow palettes that you get anyways have a certain amount of kickback, and kickback is when you press your brush into your eyeshadow and you get the what we call fallout. We get that with almost every eyeshadow palette, and I think the reason why there's a lot of hoo-ha about this one is because people are not used to this from Anastasia Beverly Hills. She has set a standard for herself. She has a reputation. She has a certain level that she has attained and people associate with the brand. And for her to come up with something different is a bit of a shock for people. Now, I feel like what Anastasia Beverly Hills could have done was like prepare people for this palette. There should have been some sort of education and information, like, you know, letting people know about the change and how to work with the palette when the palette launched. But they didn't do that beforehand, and they're only just doing that now, which in my opinion is like a medicine after death kind of thing. Like, the whole world is already gone tits up about this, and now you're coming out trying to tell us how to use it. At the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone is going to have a completely different experience with this palette. And to be fair, it's not just this palette. With makeup, period, point blank, there are products that I absolutely love and that you know have also tried and you're like, what the hell is this? Like, I can't work with this. And it's exactly the same with Subculture. There are people who absolutely love this palette and like swear by how amazing it is, and there are tons of people, and there will be tons of people who will get the palette and be like, oh my god, what a waste of money. So at the end of the day, personally, I feel like to make up your mind about it, do not be biased by what anybody has to say. To make up your mind about it, if you've got the coinage, just spend that money, pick up the palette, try it out for yourself, and that way you can make up your mind about it. If you get it, you don't like it, just send it back and get your money back. It's really that simple. It's okay to share your experience, share your honest, unbiased review about a product, but brand bashing is not really on point. That's it. That's all I have to say. Okay guys, so yeah, I'm just going to do like a really quick swatch of the shadows, and I think I will swatch the colors that I used on my eyes for today's look. Right, so I am going to swatch, of course, Axis first, and I'm just gonna go in with my finger. Look at that. These shadows are really super soft. We're gonna go in with Fudge, which I use as my second transition color. Again, on my finger. Do you see that, guys? Absolutely pigmented. Then I'm going to go in with New Wave, which is this mustardy yellow color that I used as well. Look at that. Right, let's swatch the metallics now. I'm gonna go in with Electric. This is a beautiful, like, greeny, goldy, almost like a duochrome type eyeshadow. I actually fucking love that. And then we have Adorn here, which is a beautiful, like, bronzy shade. Look at that, yo. Alright, we're gonna go into Cube, which is like a iridescent. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's really white in the pan, but when you swatch it, it's like a iridescent pinky silvery type color. All of the shadows, they're undoubtedly super pigmented, and Anastasia has recommended going in with a really light tap with your brush when you want to use this palette. So lightly tap the brush on the shadow, and when you're applying, you blend with a really soft hand. I'm just going to go straight into the tutorial and show you how I have used this palette to achieve this look. Okay, and then in the end you will hear my thoughts about the palette, whether or not I like it. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. So I will be starting the eyes off, as I always do all of my eyeshadow looks, with my LA Pro Conceal as my base and primer to help cancel out my discoloration and to act as a base for my eyeshadow. And I went on to set that with my Mayron Color Set translucent powder, which is just a white colorless powder. So I'm going to go in now with the first color, New Wave, and I am using my Sigma E40 blending brush, and I'm literally just ever so slightly tapping that brush into the eyeshadow. And as you can see, it's clearly a super pigmented eyeshadow, no doubt there. Tap off the excess, and I'm going to begin to work that shade all the way through my crease as my first transition color. Now, as recommended, I am going in with a really light hand, although it looks like I'm applying a lot of pressure, but I am genuinely not applying a lot of pressure at all, because I wanted to like give this palette the best opportunity to really do what it does, or what it needed to do for me. So I'm going in ever so slightly and I'm just blending that color through my crease. It's a beautiful mustardy yellow color, but for whatever reason, it just really was not showing up on my skin tone. I kept going in, and I was just applying the shadow little bits at a time, slowly building up. I did not go in heavy handed at all whatsoever. Yeah, I was dipping in and the color just was not showing up on my lid at all. Um, so then I swapped over to Fudge, and I'm using the Anastasia brush that came in the palette this time, and using the fluffy blending, the fluffy end of it. Again, going in, starting from the outer corner and applying that color. Now that color is super pigmented, no doubt, as you can see, but I really struggled to blend out that shade Fudge. I don't know why. It just really wasn't blending. So then I thought maybe it was the brush I was using, maybe the bristles was not fluffy enough or what. So I ditched the Anastasia brush, and I went back into my E40 Sigma brush and started to blend. And I kid you not, guys, I literally spent like almost 20 minutes trying to blend the shade through my crease. Honestly, I was just really working it and working it and working it, and it just really was not moving. It just stayed exactly where I deposited my brush initially. So I decided to go back into the eyeshadow. So I was like literally slightly dipping the brush into the shadow to pick up a little bit of pigment and help me use that to blend the color through my crease. And that was the only way I kind of managed to eventually get it to blend. Now, if you look at it closely, you can see that it's slightly patchy, slightly blotchy, um, but I did get it to blend. Now, this is definitely one color that I will have to work with a bit more and try to figure out the best way to work with it and get it to like blend. Like, if I eventually gave up the light hand thing, and I was like just really going in trying to get it to blend. Um, but eventually I got there in the end. I managed to get it to be reasonably blended. It's really hard work. Like Anastasia just created this palette to make us like really work for our eye looks. That's how I feel. Anyway, so after blending Fudge, I like completely lost whatever little, speck of New Wave that was there. So I went back into New Wave and I tried to like bring the color through again, but it still didn't work because I thought maybe if I blended it over the top of Fudge, it would help. It still didn't work. I just really could not see New Wave picking up on my skin tone at all. I will try again, this time as an eyelid color over probably a white base, and see how that works for me. It might work better for me that way. Well, we'll see. So now I'm going in, I'm picking up the shade Dawn, and I'm using a flat eyeshadow brush, and I'm just slightly again tapping into the shadow, super pigmented as the others are, and I'm going to go in and use that as my brow bone highlight. I never really typically highlight my brow bone, but I just wanted to play with as many colors like as I possibly could this first time around. So yeah, now I'm going to go into Axis, which is this beautiful deep green shade, and I'm using that on my MAC 217 brush, and I'm going to start in the outer corner of my eyes, Again, look at that super pigmented brush, and I'm going in with a really light hand, and I'm going to be blending that through my outer V, through the crease of my eye, and just really working that shade through. I found this shade to be very easy to blend actually. Super pigmented, it's really easy to blend. Again, because I feel like because I was going in a little at a time, I did not get fallout the way almost everybody else got it. So yeah, I didn't suffer any kind of fallout. And then I personally prefer to start my eyes first before I do my face because I'm really clumsy. So yeah, I didn't have to worry about messing up my base makeup or anything like that. So just really blending that shadow, I found it really easy to work with, and it's came off really pigmented, of course. But what I did begin to notice was after a couple of minutes, it's started to get slightly darker than when I initially applied it. It kind of started to oxidize on me. So I don't know why that is, and I'm not the only one who has noticed that about these shadows. So yeah, it's just something to be aware of, I suppose. So now I'm going back into Fudge and using my E40 again, and I'm just going in and doing that to like soften up the edges of the axis because I don't want it to be too I want it soft, I want it blended because otherwise it might look like I got punched in the eye, and that's not a very attractive look. So now going in with my eyeshadow brush, and I'm just slightly spraying it with my setting spray. I'm going to go in and pick up the shade Electric, which is metallic, like greeny goldy type color. I generally always wet my brushes with my metallic eyeshadows, and I'm doing exactly that here. It does apply true to form, true to shade. The only thing I'll say is do not overlayer the metallic eyeshadows because they will start to crack. So yes, you don't actually even need to because it is really pigmented. A little bit really goes a long way. So I'm just applying that and blending it into axes on both ends through my eyes and just having it looking blended and presentable. So once that's done, I'm just going in and giving myself a wing liner, and I used my Inglot gel liner and my e.l.f. eyeliner brush. And then off camera, I went on to apply my eyelashes. Now, before somebody mentions it in the comment, I genuinely did not know that my eyelashes were starting to lift. I didn't even feel it on my eyes. So throughout the tutorial, I have got a wonky eyelash. It is what it is. I noticed it when I was editing, and I genuinely could not be bothered to go back and refilm the whole video because I had one wonky eyelash. So y'all are just gonna have to bear with me through this video with my wonky eyelash. Next time I'll be a bit more cautious and aware. So anyway, once I have done all of that across the top eyelid, I'm going to go in and work on my bottom lash line, eyelash, eyelid area. So I'm going in with my black Elegel gel liner for my waterline. And then the first color I decided to work along my lower lash line was the shade Fudge. And I used that on my Sigma E30 pencil brush, and I just really worked that all the way through along my lower lash line. And to further intensify the smokiness, I then went in with my Zoeva smudger brush and picked up the shade Axis again, and I just really worked that all the way really close to lash line to further smoke out my eyes. And then of course added my mascara and everything else, and that pretty much completed me working on the eyes. Okay guys, so this is the look all completed. All in all, I don't think that it's too bad. Did I experience blending issues same as almost everybody? I will be honest, yes I did. Certain colors blended easily for me and certain colors did not. I found New Wave, which was my first transition color, literally just disappeared. Like I'm looking at myself now and I cannot see it. Fudge, again, another super pigmented color, applied really well, but I struggled to blend it. Axis, I quite love. I feel like you blend it easy. I found it to blend quite easy, but I feel like it's slightly oxidized. So it's looking a lot darker on me now than when I first applied it. And the color Electric I absolutely love. From my first experience using the palette, I find the metallic shade specifically electric, quite easy to use. It applied true to color, it stayed put, it's highly pigmented. Although I did wet my brush, but I tend to wet my brush when I'm applying my metallic eyeshadows anyways, so I have stayed true to applying my shadow in this tutorial as how I would normally apply my eyeshadow. I'd say that the dark colors in this palette, there's a tendency to go raccoon eyes real quick with this palette. So as much as you might be using a really soft hand to apply your shadows, it does oxidize. So that is one thing that, you know, you might need to be careful with, in my opinion, from having played with this palette today. All in all, do I hate this palette? No, I don't. Do I love it? Not really, but I do like it. It's take a bit of work to actually get to know the shadow and how to work with the shadow. So yes, if you're an absolute beginner to makeup, this is most definitely not recommended for you. From me anyway, I would not recommend it, unless of course you like a challenge, then go for it. This palette is not beginner friendly in my opinion, and even the pros, looking on YouTube, some of the pros actually even struggle to use this palette. So yes, keep your money if you're a beginner. I'd say if you're a beginner, I'd say stay away from this palette. There are more beginner friendly palettes out there that you can find. Some of the shades, maybe not all, but there are other beginner friendly palettes out there that you know will find more forgiving to use. I still will be playing around with this palette. I am not done with it. There will be a couple more looks coming from me on this channel using this palette. I would love for us to, you know, play around with it a bit more and actually see what it's about. So as far as recommending the palette, at the end of the day, honey, it's just makeup. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's your shmoney, so spend it, honey. You know, just spend your money however you want to. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I cannot wait to see you in the next one. If it's your first time on my channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button before you leave, because I would love for you to become a part of the family over here. And of course, hit the bell as well. You want to be notified every time I upload. I will catch you in the next one, which will be real soon. As I always say, be good, stay safe, take care of yourself, guys. I'll catch you real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. You sound just like a